If you my age or you a studier of 90s hip-hop, you know exactly who this is. This is Fat Joe, a.k.a. the leader of the Terror Squad, a.k.a. Mr. Joey Crack. It was him, Big Pun, Tony Sunshine, Cuban Links, Remy Ma. They was the kings of Latin hip-hop and shit. I ain't gonna lie, half of the hood was rolling with him too. But if you know him from late, you may know him as a YouTuber, a podcaster. He has a well-known Instagram, but a lot of people say he be capping and trying to rewrite history. But today's question is this former hype man capping and rewriting history? Because he's been charged in a $20 million lawsuit, which is accusing him of sleeping with minors. Let's get to it. You were banging minors, he said. Claims are bogus. Fat Joe, former hype man, says in a new lawsuit he saw the rapper have sex with underage girls who were 15 and 16 years old. But Joe says the allegations are BS. Terrance T.A. Dixon filed a lawsuit Thursday claiming there was at least 2 minor females Fat Joe had sexual relations with and another he allegedly fell in love with. In the docs obtained by TMZ, Dixon's attorney, Tyrone A. Blackburn, claims a 16-year-old Dominican girl would perform oral sex and other sex acts on Joe in exchange for cash, clothing, and cell phone bill payments. Dixon claims Joe started a sexual relationship with a 15-year-old Caucasian girl after meeting at an overseas concert. He says Joe flew her to New York and Miami multiple times and paid for her to get a BBL because her body was adolescent and not fully formed. Dixon claimed the girl is now married to a pro athlete. Ain't that something? You meet the girl, even though she was young, allegedly. You bring her here, you treat her good, you pay her bills, you get her a BBL, and she go hook her a pro athlete. She moved on for you. Sound like she doing good. Dixon says Joe was unhealthy and troubling fixation on underage individuals and raps about it in She's My Mama. Joe's ex-hype man also says Fat Joe coerced him into having sex with women after concerts, sometimes in full view of others, and says Joe underpaid him, denied him songwriting credits, and concealed royalties and back-end payments. What is Diddy being charged with? The same thing. You gotta be careful out here. But that's why people is not supporting Diddy. That's why people is not going to court for Diddy, because they don't want to get their shit out there. But as you can see, this is more paperwork. The defendant for exploitation was not limited to artists and collaborators. Throughout his time working for defendant, plaintiff personally witnessed defendant engage in sexual relationships with children who were 15 and 16 years old. Minor Doe 1 is a 16-year-old Dominican girl residing in New York. In exchange for cash, clothing, and payment for her cell phone bill, defendant would get oral sex and other sexual acts performed on him by minor Doe 1. On one occasion, while driving in New York City, minor Doe 1 asked the defendant for money to pay for her telephone, but notoriously cheap, the defendant claimed to be broke. This upset minor Doe 1, which began yelling, cursing, and screaming. Plaintiff begged defendant to pay the minor's child's phone bill, which was less than $100. Here's what's crazy, right? Same thing Diddy being exposed with. Y'all got all this money, millions and billions of dollars, and y'all arguing with chicks over $100. But you want your secret to stay a secret. Pay the fucking $100. You should have her on a payment plan if you know you doing something illegal and you want her to stay quiet, stupid. Minor Doe 2 is a Caucasian female. She is not a United States citizen. The defendant began having sexual relationships with minor Doe 2 when she was 15 years old after an overseas concert. Defendant flew minor Doe 2 to New York City and Miami, Florida on multiple occasions. Due to minor 2's body being adolescent and not fully formed, defendant paid for her to get a Brazilian but left. Minor Doe 2 eventually left the defendant and is now married to a professional athlete. Think about how sick that is. Oh, you look too young or your body ain't developed. Let me pay for you to get a bigger butt. How about you let her grow up and let her get that butt naturally? Like, y'all dudes want these young girls, but you want to make them up pretty and look like grown-ups. Minor Doe 2 eventually left the defendant, is now married to a pro athlete. Would love to know who that is. And apparently these are pictures of Minor Doe 3. Minor Doe 3 with her friends. Minor Doe 3 with her friends from high school. The same time she was being trafficked by defendant. Minor Doe 3 is a Latino female who met the defendant when she was 15 years old, turning 16. According to plaintiff, the defendant was in love with Minor Doe 3. He even contemplated leaving his wife. The defendant paid all Minor Doe 3's bills, even took her overseas to his tour stops. He brought her to Florida and would put her up in a condo he rented a few blocks from his house with his wife. And that's another infatuation dudes do. They'll have a side chick, but they want to move her around the corner like that's something freaky and cool to do. No, that's fucking stupid. That's dumb as hell and mad disrespectful. One thing Jay said, the niggas get in trouble because they treat the one they humping like the one they love. That's a side hoe. She don't get treated like your main girl. She a side hoe. You ain't supposed to be loving her. But apparently Fat Joe was falling in love with all of them. In recorded conversation, Minor Doe 3 and her 15-year-old cousin described in detail to plaintiff how inappropriate it was for the defendant, who was in his late 30s at the time, to be fawning over children. And this right here shows you that also in the lawsuit, Rock Nation is being sued. Defendant Rock Nation, LLC, the current management and representative entity for defendant Joe, knowingly participated in concealing, transfer, and manipulating plaintiff's ownership rights and royalty interests. Rock Nation deliberately facilitated Cartagena's unlawful conduct by filing a meritless lawsuit against plaintiff and his counsel to intimidate, harass, and obstruct plaintiff's legitimate claims against Joe and his co-defendants. Rock Nation, through its CEO, Desiree Perez, extracted 10% of all revenue generated by defendant Joe and its associated businesses, including through joint management of business records, oversight of torn revenue, and enforcement of policies. Plaintiff was required to follow during his work with defendant. And an aside, according to account Doe and former manager Doe, defendant Joe stole hundreds of thousands of dollars from Rock Nation and their CEO, Desi President, when he accepted cash payments up to $500,000 per performances he secured independent of Rock Nation. Upon information and belief, defendant Joe actions went against his agreement with Mrs. Perez. So there you have it. Those are official documents. TMZ is official website. We have another website, Stereo Gum, reporting the same thing. He performed more than 4,000 sexual acts and assaulted minors. The same thing Diddy was being sued for, and what came next? The RICO. So, Fat Joe better watch out. I don't know what's wrong with y'all dudes. Y'all should have been taking care of people. Y'all don't want y'all shit to come to light. That's why y'all ain't been reporting Diddy, and it's always gonna bite you in the ass. But like I always say, I present you with the facts. I give you my opinion on those facts. And if you like how I do that, click that like, share, subscribe, hit the bell. Click all so you can get notifications every time I drop one of these videos. And get in the comment section. Let me know what you think. And if you support this type of behavior, cut the shit. That part.